Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. My name is Reagan. Tomorrow is Friday the 14th of February, aka Valentine's Day. In the spirit of love and Valentine's Day, I'm going to be reading romance books for 1 week. Let's go over the little TBR we have. This is the stack of books that are my options for the week. The first book we have is a book I've already started, and that is Runaway Love by Melanie Harlow. This is on my February TBR. It is about a single dad and a nanny, so single dad and nanny trope. Basically, our female main character, we meet her when she's running away from her wedding. She leaves her fiance at the altar because she found out that he was cheating. So she runs away and she's in this small town for the wedding. She ends up finding a job as a nanny for our male main character, very much giving the Chestnut Springs series. I'm 143 pages into it, 40% of the way through. As for additional options, I have 3 books that are like new releases, and then I have 3 that were on my February TBR. The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. This looks like a hockey romance. It says a hockey player and a baker shoot their shot in this steamy new romance by Lana Ferguson. Lana Ferguson always has like some really spicy books. I also have At First Bite by Olivia Dade. I have no idea what it's about. I just saw it at the bookstore, but it is again cute and pink. And the main character has like little flowers or strawberries or something on her dress, and they're so cute. Then we have like the 3 new releases. The first one is one that I'm really excited to get to because it's by one of my favorite authors, Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. It's about a competitive diver and an ace swimmer. They jump into forbidden waters in this steamy college romance. Kind of a thicker book for Ali Hazelwood. Yeah, almost 450 pages. That's pretty big. Ali Hazelwood does it for me every time, and I really want to get to this. For a little bit of a darker option, I have Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. This is Brynne Weaver's new release in the Butcher and Blackbird trilogy, the Ruinous Love trilogy. And Butcher and Blackbird was a 5-star read for me. This is the final installment in this series, and I am devastated about it. But it says like a friend with benefits, dark romantic comedy packed with murder, mayhem, and space. And last is like a short little installment of one of my favorite series of all time. This is the Iceland Barbarians series, and this is the newest release, which is Barbarian's Heart by Ruby Dixon. This series has a special place in my heart, and I really want to get to this one. Good morning, team. I have a lot of things I need to do today, but I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about the book. I am 71% of the way through. It's just like mindless. Like it's one of those books where like you really cannot be paying attention for a little bit and be fine. And is it doing anything revolutionary in that department? Absolutely not. It's like pretty much the same as any other single dad nanny romance you've ever read. But like that's the beauty of it. It doesn't need to do anything revolutionary for it to be fun. Right now it's probably sitting at a 2.5 or a 3, very middle of the road. There's some parts where I'm like, this is like a little bit cringe. For example, our main female character, when she was like leaving her fiance, she ball changed, kicked him in the face. And like, is that a little bit cringe? Yes. It's still like a fun cringe, if you know what I mean. I'm getting to the point in the book where the third act conflict is coming up pretty soon here, and we already know for the most part what it's going to be. It's one of the ones where it's like a deadline because she's going back to New York at the end of the summer, and he obviously does not live in New York. It's fun sometimes, but then other times it's like a really bad third act conflict for me. Ideally, no one has to change their plans. I don't want the characters to like disrupt their lives for each other, because then I get into the territory of like, okay, were you really meant for each other? If they don't do the third act conflict right, that could really be a determining factor in my rating for the rest of the book. I'm hopefully going to finish this tonight. It's not going to take me that much longer. I think maybe an hour and a half. It is now Tuesday. Two things. First thing is finished Runaway Love by Melanie Hawkins. I ended up rating this a 2.5, very middle of the road. I can read you my little review that I wrote on Fable about it. It was just a typical small town single dad nanny trope romance. It was entertaining and it passed the time, but nothing stood out to me as above average per se. I would recommend it if you're looking specifically for this trope, but like I said, nothing really stands out about it as different. I'm not in a rush to continue the series, but I might pick up the other books in the future if I'm like itching for a specific trope. It was a very trope heavy book. It focused a lot on like the moments that you could snapshot and maybe put on TikTok or like market. Wouldn't put it above any other specific romance in this trope genre, in this area of romance. It was just good. It was entertaining. There was nothing bad about it, but also there was nothing that was like wow about it. Then I picked up, as you might have saw, Barbarian's Heart. This is the 9th book, I believe, in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, and this is like one of my favorite series of all time, unironically. It's like my guilty pleasure series, but not a guilty pleasure because I will say it with my chest. These books are good to me. They get me every time. It's like watching good reality TV. It like hooks me in, and I love it. I've been reading it on my Kindle. I am 22% of the way in. I'm on chapter 4. We're making some good progress. I just started reading it yesterday. It does have the amnesia trope in it, which is not my favorite. I don't think this is going to be like a favorite book in the series. It's just great to be back in this world, very kind of nostalgic. We're going to keep reading this. I have like a 2-hour break before my next class today. I think this is what I'm going to focus on during that 2-hour break. I wanted to check in because I'm 68% of the way through. If I haven't said this already, this one's following Pashov and Stacy. There is like the amnesia trope, and I really don't like that in books. However, I think this one, it's using it in like a smart way that actually furthers the plot instead of like just hindering the plot, I guess. It could have been done worse and it could have been done better. Also, they're not my favorite couple ever. They have a lot less going on that furthers the plot. There is like a little snippet of like maybe a potential plot twist, a new character introduction kind of situation potentially, but we haven't really gotten to the action yet. The next 30% of the book should probably have pretty heavy action plot. I think there is a little bit too much smut for me right now. I've been in a phase where I like don't really want to read smut. I go through phases of like that's all I read, or like I need that in a book for it to really hit the spot for me, and then other times in my life I just like don't really want anything to do with it. And right now I think I'm in like that I don't really want anything to do with it. Not that it's bad and like it's hindering my experience from the book, but I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing this again. And I think I'm in that phase right now. There's also like a child consistently throughout the story, and I'm not a huge fan of children in books. I'm not a huge fan of children in general. Not a character because it's a child, but like I guess a character. That child is kind of getting on my nerves. Other than that, I have no other additional thought processes to add. I have like 60 pages left. I think that should take me like about an hour. My goal is to get through that tonight because I don't have anything to do and school is canceled tomorrow. I think I also already told you that. It is kind of really dark in here. What is with that? Hold on. Unsure if that's really gonna do much. Kind of. No. Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. I finished Barbarian's Heart by Ruby Dixon. We've had a snow day. We got school canceled yesterday and today and potentially tomorrow. I don't have classes on Friday. If I did, I think they're going to be canceled, or maybe they're not, but either way, it doesn't matter because I don't have class on Friday. But I ended up reading this, I think a 2.5, very middle of the road book in the series for me. They weren't my favorite couple. I think this is basically what I've been saying the whole time. And also, I don't love the tropes specifically that were in this book. Where we ended off in the last book, there was like a lot of exciting plot points happening that I was like excited to get to. And then in this book, we kind of backtracked and didn't really see a lot of that plot or that action. Wish we had a little bit more of that, but this one just wasn't a very plot focused book. It was more on the romance, and unfortunately I didn't like the characters as much in this one. Now, with that being said, I love this series and I'm going to continue reading the series because I really love this series. Overall, pretty mid read. I've picked up another book, and that's going to be The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. This is like a hockey baker romance, a hockey and a baker. I'm currently right now on page 30, so I've only read 2 chapters at the moment. I started this morning, but I'm about to sit down and just like binge read for a few hours, hopefully. I was just in the mood for a hockey romance. I haven't read a hockey romance in a while. Our main male character, Ian, he's like coming back into town and re-signing with the hockey team that he has like previously been on, that his family owns. He like took a break because of this whole scandal with his ex. He was getting a lot of bad press, so he just moved away and like kind of switched teams for a while, but right now he's back and he's best friends with another guy on the team. Our female main character is that guy's little sister, and she has like a baking show that was really popular and now is like kind of in trouble. She's like trying to figure out a way to save her baking show, and our main male character is trying to figure out a way to get positive press instead of negative press, and these 2 PR teams for these 2 people kind of join together to try and make this positive PR stunt, and then obviously some romance is going to ensue out of that. I just started, so I'm going to try my best to get 100 pages in, and then we'll see what my thoughts are. I'm getting ready to go to Pilates, but I wanted to update you really quick. I am about halfway through, 49% of the way through The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. Basically, we've just gotten to the point where they've kind of admitted feelings for each other, and some of the quintessential Lana Ferguson spice is starting to happen, and this is the point in which a lot of her books lose me because it just like completely stops the story and plot development and just focuses on the spice for a second. I'm all for spice, but I think it needs to be happening while the story and the plot and are also progressing in order for it to feel necessary and not just like spice for the sake of spice. So I'm a little nervous on how that's going to continue. Character-wise, like they're fine. I'm not super connected to the 2 individual characters. My main male character, Ian, there was a situation in his past in which he's like gone through with his ex-wife and some other people that were involved, and we don't know what it is as far as I'm concerned for the most part. Like there's a little secrecy around it and we haven't figured it out yet, unless I just like completely missed them talking about it. So far the plot is like going well, the fake dating is going well. They're starting to like do the not fake dating part, like they're actually dating. We just got to that section. Brother's best friend thing is kind of interesting because the brother keeps like getting in the way, cock blocking per se, the action that we could be getting. Everything's going good. It's fun. I don't have any major complaints other than like I'm not super attached or getting that 5-star feeling. I'm having a good time, but I wouldn't say that I'm like itching to pick it up every time I put it down. There's nothing that grabs me and is like wow about it, which I'm finding like a lot recently in the romance genre. This lighting is not particularly great, but I was just editing and I realized that I hadn't ended this video or given my thoughts on the last book I read. As you probably saw, I finished The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. I think I ended up reading this 3 stars. My final concluding thoughts, everything that I already said pretty much stands. There's nothing that grabs me and is like wow about this book. It's a pretty standard hockey romance. One thing I found that was weird, here are some things that I haven't really mentioned yet, but I did kind of notice throughout the book. We have a second chance romance per se because our characters knew each other when they were little. Our female main character had like a big fat crush on our male main character when she was little. They aren't that different in age. Like the male main character is her brother's best friend. Her brother is only like 2 years older than her, so the age difference is like less than 5 years. We're looking at like I'd say 5 max, but I think it's like 2 to 3. I have a pimple patch on it. It's like falling off. Age difference is like not that crazy. The way that the main characters talk about the age difference in when they were younger, it makes it seem a lot larger of an age gap than it actually is, and that kind of made me feel a little weird because it was like it focused on he thought about her when they were kids, but it like wasn't even inappropriate then. They'll be like, oh, when I was younger I just wished you were a few years older or whatever, but it's like a 2-year difference. So like it's not that crazy for like an 8-year-old to have a crush on a 6-year-old. In my head that's not like gross or weird. Maybe other people think it is, but like you're kids. You're both kids. You're both like very young kids. So I don't see the issue in like you were 8 and you're like, I wish she was 2 years older. This is so inappropriate. You don't think like that when you're 8. At least I don't think you do. Like I just thought the age gap and the way it was discussed was kind of strange. And that was something I noticed towards the end when they actually like got together. So I didn't really understand that unless I missed something. And like the male main character was actually way older, but I don't really think I did miss anything. The other thing about this being a second chance romance and why I don't really love second chance romance that often, the main characters feel like they know more than you about each other. And that kind of happened in this book. I felt like main characters were in on so much more of their personalities and the others' character traits and significant events in their life than we were as readers. So when they discussed those things, it was hard to relate to them because I was like, wait, what are they talking about? We've never heard this before. And maybe that's just a me thing and why I don't really love second chances that often. But I think in this case specifically, the main characters knew each other way more than we knew them. And that made it hard for me to connect to them on an individual level and then connect to them as a couple as well. That's all the thoughts I had about this book. I think this is probably in the middle or higher ranked of the Lana Ferguson books I've read. I think this will be my third or maybe fourth book I've read by her, and I think I'm going to continue reading by her. I think I'm bound to have a favorite at some point because I really do enjoy all of the books she releases. To recap, we read romance books for 1 week and we ended up reading 3 books total. Cute little pink and blue stack here for Valentine's Day. The first book we read was Runaway Love by Melanie Harlow, and this I believe I rated, I'll put it up on the screen, but I think a 2.5. Next we read Barbarian's Heart by Ruby Dixon. This was also a 2.5. And then we had The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. We just talked about this. This was a 3 stars. So overall, a very mid-week reading, if I'm being honest. I mean, a 2.5 is like right in the middle of the rating scale, so it's like kind of all my meh books. And then a 3 is just like a little bit above average. Like I enjoyed it a little bit more than meh. Meh with a little bit more attitude. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching the reading vlog, and I hope to see you in another one. Kisses. Bye bye.